Everybody, welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start out with my bag of words and see what I'm inspired to share. Let's see. Okay. All right. Happiness. I don't know if we can see that. There we go. And the second word is embarrassed. Okay, so we have happiness, embarrassed. Let's take out one more word. And we have decide. All right. So immediately what I think is, right, I guess we have to decide how we're going to feel, how we're going to be, and what we're going to let embarrass us. In other words, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make decisions that later we might reflect upon and say, wow, maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. I shouldn't have done that. And we can see the action wasn't our best self. And when we reflect, when we realize like, okay, yeah, maybe I could have done it different, or I could have, been kinder and so forth. But in that moment, right, we got caught up and that's how we showed up. And there are times, right, that we're going to show up in ways that we're going to do things that, yes, are going to leave us feeling embarrassed, right? Embarrassed for what we did and how things played themselves out. And we have to decide, right? Are we going to carry this and allow it to bring us down? Or are we going to pivot? In other words, are we going to shift from beating ourselves up, or shift from the shame and shift from creating an identity from an action? In other words, yes, we did this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's who we are at our core. It means that, yes, that was our consciousness at that time, meaning the way we saw life and what we thought was right at that time. But that's not who we are at our core, right? In our core, we're a lot more expansive and, I believe, divine. So, but when we see ourselves as this action, or we identify ourselves with this action, and we allow this embarrassing moment then to become this shame and an identity, we are going to really create a negative inner dialogue that is going to create a lot of heavy emotions for us. So we have to decide, right? Is this the path we want to take, or do we want to create create a shift for ourselves into another emotional space? And one way to do that is through self-forgiveness, right? And also to rethink about, right, how we see ourselves. So when I talk about self-forgiveness, I'm referring to literally forgiving ourselves and affirming, right? I forgive myself for saying that. I forgive myself for doing that, and acknowledging, right, that was the best I had at that moment. Because if we could have done better in that moment, we would have done better in that moment. It's not that we didn't know better, right? In that moment, we were caught up emotionally, and that was the best we had in that moment, whatever that best was. And maybe it wasn't our ideal best, but it was the best we had in that moment when we were caught up in our emotions and we, did that action or said those words and so forth. So, right, when we affirm, right, I forgive myself, we're allowing ourselves to be human, and instead of like raking ourselves over the coal, we are going to create a different inner dialogue that's going to help us shift, yes, into less emotional, heavy feelings, and allow ourselves to open ourselves back up to happiness. In other words, when I say open ourselves back up, I'm referring to the fact that when we are in when our inner dialogue is negative, we're not really going to allow ourselves to experience any happiness. But when we are able to forgive ourselves and not create an identity from an action, then we open ourselves up to inviting happiness back in, right? We feel worthy of it. We don't feel like, well, I don't deserve that because I did this, right? We're not walking around with this punishing mindset and closing off the door to happiness. We're opening that door because we're forgiving ourselves and we're allowing ourselves to shift. And then we open up, like I said, another door, and lighter emotions, and the other door, right, which is the door to happiness. So before I go any further, oh, my cards fell. Sorry. Oh, okay, let's see. So I'm going to grab the card on top. I had shuffled the cards from this deck, the Untethered Soul, and this is the card on the top. Okay. So it says, true freedom is very close. It's just on the other side of your walls. So I love that. And it's interesting, right, that it's on the other side of our walls, which is true because we create that freedom for ourselves. In other words, we create it by being more gentler with ourselves. And that doesn't mean that, we agree with our action. It means that we are looking at it through a broader lens, not just, I'm a bad person because I did this. So when we create that shift, right, in thought and in consciousness, we are able to, yes, create freedom for ourselves. And like I said, right, open up that door to happiness. But, when I think also about it, just being on the other side, and I've mentioned earlier, right, that I believe that our true core is divine. When we think about ourselves like that, we also create a shift because now we're not just this human being who's good or bad. We are, right, more than that. Yes, our ego takes over sometimes and we don't make the kindest choices or the wisest choices and so forth. But that doesn't deny the fact, right, or negate the fact that there's more to us. There's not just this one side, right? There's this divine core, our essence. And when we remember our essence, then we are able to pivot also and open up the door to freedom and to happiness because we're not beating ourselves up. We're giving ourselves permission to be human. And that in itself is a game changer. So I'm going to end with that. I hope that this video helps you in some way. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I upload further videos. And if you have any comments, please post them down below. Thank you and have a beautiful day. Bye for now.